Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Great people, welcome back to Global Happenings. Today, we're so excited to have you again. From all indication, the future of the former governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, seems to be very bleak considering the fact that he is in the net of EFCC, and right now a human rights group has decided to volunteer to present visible evidence pointing to how he financially misappropriated the funds of Anambra State. This is really, really serious. Don't forget that some other personalities, ranging from pastors, Senator Ume, precisely, all of them talked about Obiano as not squandering, the funds of Anambra State. But with these other people coming out with evidence, it therefore means things may not really work out as most people has expected. You're going to hear full details of what these guys are about. That's the human rights organization, what they intend to present to EFCC as evidence of financial misappropriation by Obiano. But before we give you full details of that, we'd like to encourage you to please subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button and also the bell icon so that you get notification anytime we publish our videos. Now, according to the news, following the arrest of former governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, by the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC, a human rights group, the International Society for Civil Liberty and Rule of Law Inter-Society, has volunteered to submit evidence of financial misappropriations by the ex-governor to the commission to aid its investigation. A statement released on Saturday by the chairman, Board of Trustee Emeka Umeagbalasi, and other principal officers of the group alleged that Obiano generated and lavishly spent over 1.61 trillion in 8 years. The right group also said that the decision to submit the report to EFCC was to further its democratic and good governance watchdog duties and responsibilities aimed at ensuring transparency and accountability or accountable leadership in public governance. Part of this statement read thus: it said under Obiano, 1.61 trillion naira was generated and lavishly spent, and 140 billion naira borrowed and owed. Not less than 1 trillion naira was lost to criminal state agents and their revenue collectors. In other words, Anambra State under Obiano lost a total of not less than 1 trillion naira to revenue criminals and touts clandestinely raised by criminal government appointees and lawmakers under Obiano. Only 240 million naira was statutorily collected in 8 years as IGR, that's internally generated revenues, as against the 1.24 trillion that ought to have been collected and channeled into state coffers. The 240 billion naira amounted to a yearly average of 30 billion naira, while the 1.24 trillion that ought to have been generated for the state amounted to a yearly average of 150 billion naira. In other words, out of an average of 150 billion naira IGR that was supposed to have been collected and paid into state coffers on a yearly basis since March 2014, only 30 billion naira was paid yearly and 120 billion per year was lost to revenue criminals who diverted and pocketed them. Anambra State is presently conservatively measured to have enough potential or capacity to generate one-third of Lagos State IGR, which generated 40 to 45 billion naira monthly, or 450 billion naira to 500 billion naira yearly. Revenue criminality and criminalization in Anambra State under Obiano was rampaging, righteous, and bloody, and in the end, 80% of same disappeared into private pockets, leading to springing up in choice location of privately acquired state-of-the-art building complexes, including shopping malls, industry, hotel, palatial, mansions, petrol and gas station, and so on. The state under Obiano recorded over taxation, extra taxation, and taxation duplicity with nothing governmentally and developmentally to show for it. Tens, if not hundreds of billions of naira contract debt and retirees unpaid emolument undisclosed. 101 billion naira lost to police, military, and paramilitary roadblock extortions and criminal bail fees, the statement reads. Quite interesting, but I will say that this is not detailed enough for it to serve as an evidence. What they are calculating right now is just what an expected amount, the bottleneck and other issues that would have swallowed part of this money has not been clearly displayed. You understand? Because before you begin to draw up this kind of expectation, financial expectation, number one, you must have known the population of the state, you must have known the working population of the state, you must have known the market, the totality of the market there, the number of people that attend the market, everyone that sells there, and all of that. For me, is too bogus a statement by this group. I don't know how they arrive at this. I don't support corruption and I won't ever stand up for it. But one thing is certain here, this is not clear. This document or whatever the figures that they are pointing out is not clear. And if you say they are criminals who were letting the financial purse of Anambra State, it's good enough to mention names, because if you had listened to what they said at the end of their statement, they did make mention of the fact that these dubious personalities are the ones who spring up choices building in locations, and we see state-of-the-art building complexes everywhere, which is traceable to these criminals who unfortunately kind of took over the revenue base of the government and suck it dry. You understand? And very easy. If such things are being presented, you need to point people. You need to say, this man that owns this house is also playing. He's one of those who was behind it. The one who did this is also behind, and all of that. And another thing is, this should be a lesson. If all of this we are hearing is true, it should be a lesson to our leaders for them to be more attentive, to the financial sources, financial channels in their individual state. Thank God for a financial expert like Professor Charles Soludo, who had been in central bank. I know that he will block all those leakages, in the purse of, Anambra State. He will have to, come down to a particular level. I know internal control measures are one of the key stumbling block or blockages for leakages in any financial institution. And I know that he's going to adopt all of that to see how Anambra State can stand up strong. Don't forget that the person of Peter Obi was also in that same seat. He left very strong, not just strong, he left with some reasonable amount of money left in the pocket of the people. But what we are hearing here is a case of debt, that there are a lot of debt that are yet to be paid. The pensioners will not pay their monies and all of that, So now another thing here is that with this kind of information, if Professor Charles Oludo is privileged to it, he has to be very careful with those that he will be appointing into financial position, especially minister or commissioner of finance. You gotta be careful the kind of person that is there, and chairman of IGR, that's Anambra State Internal Revenue Service Commission. You gotta be careful the kind of people that you put there. The touts must be blocked, because it doesn't really make sense. Taxpayer money into private pockets for what? It makes no sense at all. If it must be evenly distributed, then it must be used for developmental projects in the state. You understand? I like to leave it there. What's your position on this move by this inter-society group?